Hi, this is Adam at the Phantom Minis YouTube channel. Today I am going to just show you how to do some list building for X-Wing Miniatures, the game. So you can see on the screen here my previous video, the real basics of X-Wing 2.5 or 2.6 as it may now be called, but essentially after 2nd edition X-Wing with the new AMG rules update. So, how do you build a list? We're going to do this the most basic, simple I can think of for list building in 2022 with the 2.5 edition of the game. Feel free to watch the first video to see the basics of X-Wing as it is now, but if you want to crack on, this is how we list build. So, first option, you can go to the Atomic Mass Games website, link in videos that I have previously, and you can see the Star Wars X-Wing documents. So you've got the rules reference and the errata. You've also got points lists. When you're list building, what you need is the ship points and the upgrade points. So you can go into here and see PDFs, and inside those PDFs will be the points for every ship in the game and every upgrade in the game. There are also documents on here about the scenarios, the ban list. So ban list is if you want to play in standard or extended in an event, then there are banned cards currently in the game. There's also tournament regulations and other information. So that's there if you want to do it pen and paper style. However, there are two online options which most players seem to use. So we have YASB. So you see at the top here, it's yasb.app. This is a really popular place to go and make a list and has been for a long time. There was a version in 1st edition, in 2nd edition, and this is the 2.5 edition, and it's what we're going to use today in this video to show you how to list build. There is also launchbaynext.app. I use this on my phone and have done since Andre Lind created it. It's a fantastic way to put together a list. I particularly like it for a phone because on a day of an event, if you're playing 6 rounds, you can have your list, show your opponent information, and just see how things work. And there's loads of other tools and features that are worth looking at. But for today, I'm going to take you through how does list building work in X-Wing 2nd 2.5 edition actually work? What is the point? How does it happen? So you can see at the top here the number of points in a legal squad, and YASB helpfully points out that a tournament legal squad must contain 3 to 8 ships. So you have 20 points. What we're going to do is create a rebel list. So we're going to choose some ships. So we've got all the options are currently here for the standard version of the game. If you wanted to play in the extended version of the game, there will be more ship options. And then there's also the epic version of the game, which hasn't been moved over properly yet, and there are quick builds as well. We're going to go with standard, as that's what most people play at the moment and is a good starting point for any players. What we want to do is select ships up to 20 points. Now, there is something in 2.5 called deficit scoring. That means if you don't spend all 20 points for your list, your opponent receives any points you don't spend at the start of the game. Because games are run to 20 points, and that's how you declare a winner, giving any points away makes it easier for your opponent to beat you. So when you start, you both have 0 points, unless someone receives some deficit points. Otherwise, you're trying to get to 20 points first, if the draws are available and so on. But we'll keep it that simple for now. So I want to keep it really nice and easy. I'm going to choose an X-Wing to start. So by choosing X-Wing, I'm immediately given an X-Wing that I could pick. Now, here are all of the X-Wing options in Standard Edition. So the option at the bottom here, let's take Wedge Antilles. Wedge showing us their important information about him, how many loadout points and what initiative he is. So Wedge is initiative 6 and has 18 loadout points. We'll go on to loadout in a moment. So you can see at the top now, I have spent 6 points of my 20 and I have 14 left. So I'd also like a Y-Wing. Big fan of Y-Wings here. So we've got some named Y-Wings and we've got some unnamed ones. Now you can see the difference is fairly simple. Gold Squadron Veteran is an unnamed, whereas Ivan Verlaine or Halton Salmon named ones. On the cards, the named pilots will have a little dot next to their name to show that they're unique, whereas unnamed ones will not have a dot. That's the helpful way to spot those. So let's pick our Y-Wing. I've always been a big fan of Horton, so let's take Horton. So I'm now up to 10 points spent. Let's see, let's have a look what else. Let's take an A-Wing. We'll do a bit of a rebel salad. So I'd like quite an expensive A-Wing to round my points off a little. So I think Ahsoka Tano or Hera Syndulla, both in great TV shows. Ahsoka's coming up with her own TV show, so I'm going to pick Ahsoka. 15 points spent, 5 to go. So I would like a 5-point option. I'm thinking a B-Wing, but I'd have a little look around. Let's take a B-Wing. So I've got 10 Num is 5 points. Netrum Pollard, Gina Moonsong, Braylon. Yeah, I think I'll have 10 Num. There we go. So I've now spent my 20 points. I've chosen 4 ships with pilots, all named, and that seems like a good start. Now you might be thinking, right, Adam, you mentioned there are pilot points and there are upgrade points. How does this work? Well, each ship, pilot or unnamed pilot, comes with a certain amount of loadout points. In previous editions of the game, this is not how this worked, but I'm not going to refer back because this is how this works now. We might as well keep it on current ways that the game plays. So I've got Wedge can spend up to 18 points on upgrades. And you can see here in the middle all the upgrades that are available. The builder has given them to me, and you can see that different pilots have different options. So Wedge has 2 talents available, whereas Horton's got 1 talent, whereas Ahsoka as a force wielder has 2 force and a talent, and 10 Num, talent, sensor, cannon. There's all sorts of different options. So let's build this out. Well, Wedge is a very high initiative pilot. You can see initiative 6. That means he'll generally move last and shoot first, depending on the road roll that you make in the game. So as long as you're the only 6 on the board, Wedge is going to be moving last and shooting first, unless there's a 6 on the opposing side. So let's give Wedge some things that would help him with those pertinent points of his being a pilot. So you could give him squad leader, for example. So you can see on the right hand side there, you can coordinate. Moving last means he'd be coordinating after most other ships have moved, so that's quite good. Duke is if he has access to an evade more than anything, so maybe not Duke. Swarm Tactics is quite good because it's a way of telling one of his friends to fire at the same initiative as him, and so on, so on. There's lots of options. So I'm giving him quite an expensive upgrade. I think maybe outmaneuver, or I could go down to one of the more cheaper options, maybe something like Hopeful. I think Hopeful could be quite good because everyone wants to kill Wedge, and if I keep him out of the way in a fight, then it's more likely that his friends will get killed, and you can see that Hopeful, I can't move my mouse, but on the right hand side of the screen, it shows you there that after another friendly ship at range 0 to 3 is destroyed, if that ship is limited, which they all are, or as the Hopeful upgrade, you can perform a focus or a boost action. Seems good. I'll take Hopeful on Wedge. Torpedoes. I'm going to give him the most expensive torpedoes, as Wedge does like to fly around and fire torpedoes with his personal ability. So I'll give him some torpedoes. So we've got 5 points left. An astromech would be nice. Let's see, we only have 4 choices on the astromech. So R4 would make him better at turning. R3 would give him more options on locks. So let's take an R3 so he gets a couple of locks. 2 points to go. Let's have a look and see if there's a 2-point talent I'd like to have. Well, if he's having a free boost from Hopeful, maybe Daredevil, so that he can boost in a more interesting way, or Elusive, so that he's better at defense. I think better at defense. So there we go. I've now spent my 18 loadout points, not necessarily on options that you'd pick, but just to show you how that works. So I'm going to build out the rest of the list quite quickly. So Horton, over here you can see while you perform an attack, you may reroll 1 attack die for each other friendly ship, range 0 to 1 of the defender. Excellent. So Horton, I think a torpedo for him as well. Let's give him some powerful torpedoes. And an astromech, let's give him an R4 astromech so he's better at turning, because it's only a Y-wing. Oh, actually, I meant to show that before, so we'll hover that first. So you can see the builder on the right-hand side. You've got all the movement options for Horton, and you can see currently he has white, 2 hards, and 2 banks. And when I put the R4 astromech on, those show as blue. So I nearly showed that the wrong way around, so bear with me there. Ahsoka has an ability about after executing a maneuver, she can choose friendly ships, spend force, and they can perform actions. So that's really good. let's have a look. She has 12 points, so let's give her a force upgrade, maybe something really fun. Yeah, let's give her foresight so she can potentially make attacks. I think there's probably a missile at 6 points. Oh no. Actually, let's give her proton rockets. So proton rockets is a bullseye attack with 5 dice, so that's pretty good. And then I've given her brilliant evasion. Let's see if I can make a 4-point. Nope, nothing on there. Let's try a 2-pointer then. Give her predator. So brilliant evasion, she is better at defense by getting to spend force to change focus results to evade results in a higher quantity. Predator allows her to reroll when in bullseye from a primary attack. Doesn't really stack with proton rockets. Pick that a bit quickly there. Let's choose elusive. There we go. So she can reroll a defense die, which will work with brilliant evasion. Fantastic. And then 10 num. While you defend or perform an attack, you can spend a stress token to change focus to other options. So, already got stabilized S4s, so let's have a payload. So a bomb, that might be good fun. So, choose some proximity mines, leaving me with 8 points to go. We'll have a cannon, leaving me with 4 points. We'll have fire control, and we'll have predator. Oh no, not predator. Selfless. There we go. And there we are. So now you can see that we have all of the ships that I've chosen. I've totaled up to 20 points, and I've spent all of their loadout points. Now it's worth noting that you do not have to spend all of the loadout points on every ship. You can hold back, and you could spend no loadout points, or all of them, or somewhere in the between, and nothing negative happens to you in the game. Your opponent doesn't get any extra points because you haven't spent all your loadout. They only get deficit scoring points if you don't spend the 20 that you have at the top here. And there we go. That is the basics of list building. So if you go to yasby.app, you can go through and pick all of the different factions and make lists. And likewise, if you go to Launch Bay next, you can put that on your phone, and you can also save lists and come back to them. And it's a really good way to go. That's going to be this video, trying to keep it short and sweet on these introductions to X-Wing the Miniatures Games 2.5 edition, June 2022. Really just trying to break the game down for new players as best as possible, as I know it's really complicated at the moment trying to get in because there is no starter set out there that explains everything in one go. So I'm going to try and do a bunch of videos which just explain the basics of putting a list on the table and how to start using it. Next video, I think we will do a setting up the game video. So having the play space, how you put obstacles, how you set up the scenario, how you put your ships on the board, and how you start the game, and then stop at that point. Subscribe, please, for more content. Every subscriber just makes me really happy, so if you could do so, that would be fantastic. We're nearly at 100 last time I checked, which is amazing, considering this is mostly just a project for myself, trying to make a video every week, as I've said before. But no, it means a lot to me, so that's much appreciated. Please put comments down. If you're new to X-Wing and you have questions, put comments down. Check out the Facebook pages. I'll try and post this video around so that new players can just jump straight onto a video and see how to make a list in this most current edition of the game in the easiest way possible. Thank you very much. Have a great day.